Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. Hong Kong adds 342 local infections, with health authorities fearing hundreds of transmission chains in the community. Government admits that long queues and packed crowds at the city's COVID testing stations are not ideal, but concedes the situation is inevitable for the time being. And the United States believes Russia has assembled 70% of the military power needed to invade Ukraine. For the second day in a row, Hong Kong has recorded more than 300 COVID infections. Health authorities fear there are now hundreds of transmission chains in the community. Macy Mock reports.
It was another grim day for Hong Kong's battle against COVID. There were 342 additional cases in the past 24 hours, all of them locally transmitted. The number of confirmed patients over the past 2 weeks has exceeded 1,900, of which 320 are of unknown origin.
If one case represents one transmission chain, there obviously will be over 320 transmission chains in the community. So it is a very widespread and severe situation in terms of the spread in the community.
The 5 districts with the highest number of untraceable cases are Sham Shui Po, Sha Tin, Kowloon City, Kwai Ting, and Wong Tai Sin. Of new cases today, 2 involved elderly homes in Sham Shui Po and Cheung Kwan O, forcing around 70 residents into quarantine. Chuang Shuk Kwan of the Center for Health Protection said some confirmed cases also visited Po Lim Monastery on Lantau Island and Sha Tin's Che Kung Temple during Lunar New Year. She was worried of a possible outbreak at those places. Meanwhile, the hospital authority warned that its facilities are nearing their capacity. Chief Manager Lau Kin Hin urged people who receive messages informing them of a positive test result to stay home and await further instruction. He said there is no point rushing to the emergency room as this will not speed up admission to a hospital. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Thousands of people spent the last day of the Lunar New Year holidays lining up for a COVID test, either to fulfill a government order or just for peace of mind. The situation was even worse at Tuen Mun's Tai Hing estate, with one block locked down until tomorrow, after a number of residents are suspected of catching the virus. Chloe Feng reports.
After Kwai Chung Estate, another COVID hotspot may be brewing in Hong Kong. 2 additional blocks at Tuen Mun's Tai Hing Estate were sealed off by authorities last night after the coronavirus was found in the sewage samples there. 2 people from Hing Chang House were found to be preliminary positive, with the rest of the 2,600 or so residents allowed to leave their homes this morning. But those in nearby Hing Tai House will be locked down until at least tomorrow, after 11 suspected cases were detected. Another 13 patients were diagnosed through a separate overnight lockdown at Sha Tin's Sun Tree Estate last night. They came from random units at 2 buildings. And for those subject to mandatory testing orders, they could only spend the last day of the Lunar New Year break lining up for tests. Hundreds of people waited outside a testing station at Maple Street Playground in Sham Shui Po, even before services began at 8 a.m. Long queues were also seen at King Sun Community Hall in Tuen Mun, as well as Yuan Long Town East Community Hall. Ironically, hundreds of people signing up for tests were jam-packed together, with no staff telling them to maintain a proper social distance. This woman decided to kill time by knitting a scarf, while others brought along a stew.
Obviously, this is not desirable, but given that the community transmission is now quite widespread, and our targeted approach to stop the outbreak via extended testing have to be implemented in order to delay or stop the transmission. So this may be inevitable for the time being. But as reported previously, we are planning to ramp up the testing capacity rapidly.
For those who wish to avoid waiting for hours, try your luck reserving a slot at the government's online booking system. But do it fast. All community testing centers are fully booked for the next few days. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
The chief executive and her family will test for COVID after the virus was found in sewage samples near their residence. Sewage tests revealed that a large area covering the Peak, Mid-Levels, Admiralty and Wan Chai were affected. Apart from Government House, the British and American consulates and police headquarters also fell into the area. A spokesman for the chief executive's office said Carrie Lam and her family will make use of rapid antigen testing kits. The kits will also be provided to cleaners and security guards working in the area. In other news, a police officer has been suspended from duty after he allegedly followed a woman back to her residence in Sai Ying Pun.
What did you say? What did you say? Pussy bitch, say what?
The man was seen turning around and walking down the stairs after the woman began filming him. Writing on social media, the woman said the man had followed her and her friend for a few blocks while they were walking home last Tuesday. She said he asked her if she wanted to be his girlfriend. She filed a police report the following day, and the man was later found to be a constable posted to Western Division. The case has been classified as one of loitering. Turning overseas, the United States continues to escalate its response to perceived Russian threats to Ukraine. American officials believe Russia has already assembled 70% of the military power it needs to attack in several weeks' time. Yeung reports.
As threats from across the border continue to escalate, residents from the town of Ukraine's Kharkiv came out to show their commitment to peace. Carrying signs and shouting slogans, they called on Russia to leave them alone. We are peaceful people. We want to live in peace with everyone, said this woman. Kharkiv sits just 40 kilometers from some of the tens of thousands of Russian troops amassed at the border of Ukraine. These protesters say if their neighbor was to attack, they stand ready to wage a guerrilla campaign against one of the world's greatest military powers. This comes with the release of satellite images showing the extent of Russian military deployment in southern Belarus near Ukraine. According to U.S. media, Moscow has already assembled 70% of the military power it needs to attack. An anonymous government official apparently told press in the United States that a series of indicators suggest President Vladimir Putin intends for an invasion in the coming weeks. They include a military exercise, usually held in the fall, rescheduled to mid-February to March. Russia, meanwhile, continues to deny these accusations, but a pair of long-range nuclear-capable bombers sent to patrol over Belarus yesterday has caused tensions to simmer even hotter. Russia has called on Ukraine not to be accepted into NATO and for Western countries to pull back military deployment in Eastern Europe. But both Washington and NATO have rejected these demands. Yeung, HKIBC.
Britain's Queen Elizabeth is paving the way for her son's wife, Camilla, to be named Queen Consort once he takes on the throne. The announcement marking her Platinum Jubilee sparked controversy online. Chloe Fong reports.
There is excitement in the English air as Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee arrives this weekend. The country's longest-serving monarch marks her 70th year on the throne today. Yesterday, she was seen attending her largest public engagement since a recent health scare, when she chatted with guests and enjoyed a cake. This will be her first accession celebration without her husband, Prince Philip, to whom she was married to for over 7 decades. In a written address to the country, the Queen made a surprising announcement regarding the transition of the throne. She said it was her sincere wish that, when the time comes, Camilla will be known as Queen Consort as she continues her own loyal service. She also called on the public to give her eldest son, Charles, the same support as she has when he becomes a king. The shock announcement ties up a massive loose end that has loomed over the House of Windsor since Prince Charles divorced the late Princess Diana, who was killed in a car crash in Paris in 1997. Charles later remarried Camilla in 2005, but the couple remained unpopular for many years under the shadow of infidelity accusations. On social media, people were quick to respond. One Twitter user said, "Sorry, Camilla, but there's only one woman that was worthy of becoming a queen." Another wrote, "It would have happened whether the Queen wanted it or not due to the law." Celebrations for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee will go on through the year. Prime Minister Boris Johnson also paid tribute today, highlighting her unwavering dedication and many years of service to the nation. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
A 5-year-old boy who fell into a deep well in Morocco has died, according to the royal palace. This comes after rescuers spent 4 days trying to rescue him. The Moroccan king expressed his condolences to the boy's parents and spoke directly to them at the scene, according to local media. Rescuers had dug a tunnel trying to get to him. They finally got to the boy last night, and he was quickly swept onto a waiting ambulance. Ryan Oram fell into a 32-meter deep well outside his home village on Tuesday evening. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy tomorrow with a few rain and mist patches. Temperatures will range between 15 and 19 degrees. There will be bright periods on Tuesday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Thanks for watching. Good night.